Hi, I'm Robyn.
And I'm Christen. And today we're talking about Run BTS episodes 11 and 12. So 11 is the episode where they went back to school and they did their skit and they each had a character and they had to write their own script.
Yeah,
And you laughed so much
I did.
in that
So
episode. You laughed so
got-
much.
yeah.
Do you want to talk about those highlighting humorous moments for you? Because there were many.
Yes. The first one was when they came in and they got their assignments as to their characters, and Sugar found out he was a transfer student,
Female
female
trans.
exchange student, and that made me laugh. I was like, oh my goodness, I couldn't envision it when they said it. And I was like, what are they going to do? Well, everybody got into there was the idol,
Played
the
by Jin.
right the transfer student played by Sugar, the I don't know, the witty but goofy,
The slow but witty student
student, which
played
was
by RM.
RM. And there was the book, the literary student, which was J Hope, right? And then you had your intellectual bookworm, which was V. And let me see, who? Oh, I'm missing. What am
You're
I
missing
missing?
two.
Two. I'm missing two.
So
Who was that?
JK was the cold
Oh, the one.
the Sundari, I think is what it's. I don't know if I pronounced that right.
Yeah.
Sundari, basically the cold but warm-hearted student.
Student, right?
And then Jimin was the class leader,
right,
and he was the one with the angelic smile.
yes, yes. I don't know why I missed it. Well, they made me laugh too. So it opens up where they're in a classroom and the transfer student comes in and Jin brings her in.
No, Jimin.
Jimin brings her in.
Yeah.
And that Sugar, the way she came in, he came in, he came in. He was like,
they're just kind of like, hey,
right,
I'm here.
I'm here. And everybody's mouth just dropped.
I'm not gonna lie. Sugar makes a really pretty woman.
Pretty woman, yes, yes.
Sugar, I shout out to their stylist and
Yeah,
their makeup artist.
They did an excellent job.
He's a beautiful person.
Yes.
Anyway, like he's just got a gorgeous face, but throw that wig on and the lizard.
Not but as well.
Yeah.
As well as
But yeah, but put the wig on. And the comment he made about how he looks like his aunt.
He looks like I was like, well, I guess that's he. I don't know how he came up with that.
It's family traits. I mean, I'm pretty sure they share a lot of similar traits, but he never thought about it until he saw himself in a wig and was just like, oh my God, I look like my aunt. And the way he plugged her, but he plugged her business at the end. He was like, forever in Deku, and you're getting your hair done. It's probably by my aunt. Like, I love that he did that. He was just like, shout out to my aunt in Deku.
That's right. And I have to say that he was very, very good and very, very convincing.
And so the plot was they all had to impress him or her. They had to. One of them had to win his affection.
Right.
And Jimin called it very early. He was like, he's not gonna like any of us. He's not gonna. He's like, I know him. He's not gonna be impressed.
No. Yeah.
But though the effort that they put in, who stood out to you? As far
J Hope.
Okay, I was gonna say J Hope too because he did the most.
He did the most.
When he asked for artificial tears, I was like, oh no, what is he going to do? And then when the artificial tears weren't enough, and he brought out the water bottle, just so dramatic. Oh my gosh! But it was so funny. It was perfect.
It was, and RM too. RM had me rolling too because he was just So he was so goofy.
He was just in the back, goofy. Just with this cheesy grin, just laughing at everything.
And you didn't recognize this. I don't think you've seen this, and I brought it to your attention. But when he stood up to approach Sugar, his chair flipped over. So when he's actually sitting next to Sugar, he's on his knees. He's on his knees.
I do remember you pointing it out, but I don't think we went back and rewatched it. I do need to go back and rewatch that. But I do remember the chair flipping.
The chair flipping. And then when he's sitting there, so I looked and the chair was still on the floor. But when he went back to his seat,
the chair
was at his seat. Yeah. So when he went back towards his seat, the chair was at. But I was like, is he on his knees?
Doing anything and everything to get Sugar to like him.
Yeah.
To get Min Yoongi to like him.
See, you caught the names. You so
well.
Good.
It's his name, but like slightly different pronunciation. But that's his character. All Army knows Min Yoongi.
And I'm trying to think who was the runner-up after J-Hope.
I do like the moment where Jimin is thinking like, he's like, oh, I got this in the bag. And he goes, can I come sit next to you? And Sugar goes, sure. And just comes over. And then he's like, yeah, I got this. And he goes, and keep walking. He's like, and go on. And he's just like, okay. That moment was so funny. Jin with the rings, but at the end when he's just like, can I get those back? Those are my stylists. He's just like tossing them out, and then he's like, I need to collect those. That was funny. When the little outtakes at the end when Jimin was sitting next to him and he's talking to him and about being there in the new school, and Sugar just goes, oh, I've got a gun, and Jimin's like, what? He's like, why do you have a gun here? And he goes, no, give me that. You shouldn't have that. But I love how he just casually pulls the gun out of his backpack like, yeah, I've got this weapon. Yeah. Like, what? Why do you have it? Where did you get that from?
That was funny.
That was funny. Jin. Oh, Jin was the other one. We talk about the vocal warm-up.
Oh,
his vocal warm up, his new technique that he learned, and then he just proceeds
because he's the idol, right?
Yeah, he's the idol. Yes, and then he just proceeds to scream.
Yeah, and everybody's like,
oh. They're like, oh, good job! Like, this is amazing. They're just giving him so many props, and he's just screaming while making the goofiest looking face.
Yes, yes.
That's one thing I love about Jin. Jin is he's worldwide handsome, but he is not afraid to be silly. He's not afraid to sacrifice his looks because he knows that when he needs to turn it on, he can turn it on. But he's a comedic, he's a physical humor.
Yeah, he is
kind of person. Yes, he's a very physical
much, and
humor.
not afraid to use it.
V is also kind of physical humor too. I've noticed, but like Jin, when you have somebody that's just that handsome. And you're just like, oh, they're probably vain. Like, they're probably like, no, I can't risk looking stupid or anything.
Not at all.
Jin does not care. Jin does not care. He's just like, I don't care.
He's all out there.
Yeah, he will just do whatever because at the end of the day, he wants to laugh.
Yeah, yeah.
He wants to laugh because that's what fuels him. He wants to make you laugh. He wants to bring joy. And he did so well.
He doesn't take that title seriously. I mean, in the sense of,
well, it's funny because he gave it to himself.
Yeah, but I
get what you mean.
Yeah, but he's like, this is who I am, and he doesn't do that. Worldwide handsome,
but he's funny also as heck. He's also
funny as heck.
Super funny.
Yeah,
that's one thing I love, and I think we were watching. It was when we were watching the next set of episodes, but I think I'm going to say it now. I'll probably repeat it again. Mm-hmm. But it's such a good thing these boys are silly. It's such a good thing that they're willing to be just goofballs because for them to be that attractive and that talented, like, we need to know you're real.
Yes. Yeah.
We need to know. And they have no problem bringing the humor. Mm-mm. They are all for, bringing the laughs. They're just a lot of fun. They're very entertaining.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I also feel very drawn to them because, yes, they're very talented vocally and in the studio and on stage. They're great performers. They're precision dancers and they're beautiful.
Yeah.
But they bring so much more. Like, they are also hilarious. They're going to make sure that, you're entertain. They're going to make sure that you're good. They cover all of the different, like they're perfect. They're absolute perfection.
They are good. They are good. And that episode was, there was only one other episode that I laughed harder, but we won't go into that.
That's in the next set of episodes, right? Or was it in the beginning? Is it 12?
No, it's like really recent.
Oh. Okay. Yes, I know what you're talking about. Because we've got a lot of Run BTS episodes. It's gonna be a while before we get to Run Jin.
Yeah.
But I did show her a Run Jin episode, and if you're familiar with Run Jin and you've been up to date with the episodes and you know about the one, well, this one's been a while, but when he kidnaps J-Hope, I let her watch that one. Hilarious. Yeah, I knew it was funny, but like just hearing her reaction, like how into it she was getting. So much so that she was like, I can't watch the second part because I'll never go to sleep.
I can't, yeah.
She was like, I'll be up laughing. She's like, I've got too much to do. I'll never get what I need to get done. So, but yes, those two together are hilarious.
Yeah, so far those two are the ones that I just like, my stomach cramped up laughing so hard.
They're so funny. Yeah. They're so funny. So yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. But yeah, when we get to that, she'll get to revisit that one. Honestly, I feel like it's hard to wait with some of these episodes because they're so good.
I know.
This show as a whole is really good. I do like the fact that they created this variety show to give us that entertainment, those laughs, those moments.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, as I say moments, I realize, there is some merch and some content that they are releasing prior to everybody discharging. And one of them is the Run BTS Poly game that's based off the show. And so it's going to involve a lot of key highlight moments from the series.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that there's episodes down the line. Like I already know my favorite episode, one of my favorite episodes, the one that I keep going back to is episode 41 with the La Chimolala. La Chimolala. I quote that regularly. Like I will be sitting there and just in response to something, I'll just be like, La Chimolala. And I know Jimin wants that to die. I know he does. But why? Like it's such an iconic moment.
Yeah.
Jimin delivers a lot of iconic moments in this series. And as we go through the episodes, we'll get to them. And I have a hard time not showing you future episodes before we're supposed to get to them. Mm-hmm. It's really hard because I just want to share them with you. And I want you to laugh because when I realized that you got into it and you were like, okay, yeah, I like these episodes, I was like, just you wait.
I got a list for you.
Just you wait. I was like, there are some key ones that we need to highlight. Some ones that are really going to have your, sides aching from laughter. And I can
believe that.
And I want to get to them yesterday, but we can't because there's not enough hours in a day. And we have a schedule that we would like to adhere to.
Yes.
For as much as possible.
But
right now, we're going to only focus on 11 and 12.
Mm-hmm.
And 12 was also really fun. So both of them were skits.
Yes.
Both episodes were skits where they had to create their own script. They didn't have a pre-written script. They had to figure out, what their lines were going to be. And the episode 12 was the cops and robbers. Mm-hmm. The cops and robbers one. Yeah. So you had the police chief, the 3 cops, the 3 robbers, or 3. I don't know. They weren't really robbers, bad guys.
Yeah, bad guys. Yeah, because
the criminals.
Oh well, you know what I was gonna say. I don't know what what they robbed, but all of it was referred to
stealing army's hearts and
burning
up the stage.
Burning up the stage.
So arson. For burning up the stage,
stealing
army's hearts, burning. There were a lot of different
charges,
yeah, but all related to them basically, making us fall in love.
Yeah.
Which we do. We daily, because how could you not?
Yeah.
How could you not?
They and Cops and Robbers took place in a police station
set.
Yeah, the set. Yeah, took place. Well, the set was a police station, and they had their little jail, their little holding cage.
I just wanna say something really quickly about the little jail cell that they have. Cage? Yeah, the little holding cage. Now we all know Jimin is small. But did you see him squeeze between the bars and then JK sitting there just like, what? Like, Jim is just like, bye. Squeeze through, like, and JK's like, I can't get through this. So he has to wait for somebody to open the door for him. Yeah. But Jimin is he's just so funny because, yes, he's small and he hates that he gets talked about, but he can get himself out of some sticky situations if he wanted to because he's small. And he's just like, I don't have to stay here. Just go right through the bars. And they're all just sitting there like, what? Yeah, that one. Then the dance battles.
Yes, the dance battles.
Battles. But I think the funniest thing about this episode is not any of the content that was planned for the episode. It was when they were all doing the thing with their hair to make it stand up straight like a shark fin.
I didn't. Was it on camera? Because I didn't see it.
I don't recall if we saw them doing it. It's just they were in scene at one point with regular hairstyles that their paid stylists did for them. And then they come back and then you got JK, RM, V, and who else had it? I think it was just those three, maybe Jimin. But they had their hair, like you could tell they were off in the corner just doing this with their hair trying to, like, they probably were doing it to each other.
Yeah.
JK stayed the best. His was very prominent. Like, they used so much product in his hair. Yeah. That his stayed perfectly. RM's was probably the next best. And then V came in third.
Yeah.
But, and it wasn't like I'm ranking them. They didn't need to be ranked.
No.
That wasn't even part of it. But for some reason, it was so funny because it just showed you like they're boys. They're just boys. They're just and they're just like, this will be funny.
Yeah.
Like this has nothing to do with our program.
Let me do this. Yeah.
Like this will be funny, and they're just like, yeah, let's do it. Like it's hilarious.
Just like shaking up the coke.
Yes. Oh yeah. From the last season. And it's those little things that you're like, oh yeah. And I know it's weird for me to not weird, but it's crazy how like I gravitated towards that because I don't have brothers. You never had sons.
Yeah.
So we don't really have much, and you don't have brothers either. So we really don't have much exposure to those like boys doing boy things.
Boys will be boys sort of thing.
And even within like with the nephew and nieces, like you have one nephew, and he's got one male cousin, but like you don't really see a lot of that interacting. So it's kind of refreshing. I don't know, for them to just be like, this is funny, let's do it. Like there's no second thought. They're just like, let's do it because it's crazy and it's funny and it's different. And I don't even think they're thinking that far ahead. They're probably just like, this is funny. This is funny, right? Yeah. And then they just do it.
Yeah.
So just to see that aspect, that dynamic of their relationship, like they really are brothers.
Yeah, the dance battle is hilarious, and it wasn't a dance battle that they had.
Well, there was a dance battle at the end.
Yeah, the dance battle at the end in the cage
that V made them do.
But the one that
when they had to do when they had to dance to reduce their sentences.
Right. Yeah, that was hilarious.
Mm-hmm. They're like, get your killing point.
Sugar was the police chief, and he when I brought the first one in, I can't remember, it was the first criminal robber, and he was sitting at the computer.
Oh yeah, just kind of like.
But when the camera came around,
he was playing Minecraft. And I think we watched it twice. And the first time I did not notice. And the second time I was like, is he playing Minecraft?
Yeah.
took me back. Yeah. But I was just like that, and he's just casually, but he's such an old man. Yeah, he was just like, yep, just gonna play some Minecraft. It's fine, it's fine. But he was so random as the police chief. His role random. Was, I think he was supposed to be hungover or drunk or something. They were supposed to be sending him home, and he's just waiting for his ride to go home. I don't know if that was the official role or if that's the role one of the, I think V gave him. Yeah. I think so. I don't remember that part. He's just he would like randomly come in like and just say something super random out of the blue, and then just be in the background. That's one thing I do love about Suga. He's just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna have a moment here, and then I'll just be back here chilling until the next time I feel called to have spontaneously have a moment. Yeah. So he did add some laughs there, but he likes to pepper in his laughs. Mm-hmm. He's just enough with the seasoning of humor. And then you've got JK and V who are just like, give as much humor as we can at all times. Yes. So it's such a wide spectrum. Yeah. And then you got everybody else in between. But what did you think overall? I know that you're really liking the show. Mm-hmm. And as we get into the later episodes where they're more recent, you'll start to see their humor. It's still there. Yeah. Still there, I promise you. But it's just a little different. And the type of content that they're putting out is a little bit different. But overall, like, how'd you feel about 11 and 12? About the skits? They were, of course, 11 had me, giggling and cackling and laughing real hard. And 12, I enjoyed 12 too. 12 was this, it's the little things that they do, like when you were pointing out what they did to Head. It really had nothing to do, and the thing with the the gun at the end, and that had really nothing to do. Well, it had something to do with the skit, but it wasn't part of the skit that we were privy to. Yeah. So, and then for them to pop up and go like, where'd that come from? It was a pleasant surpriser. It's nice. It's very surpriser. Nice. So I got those little nuggets, those little little gifts. I enjoyed them both, but I find myself, I'm really beginning to enjoy a lot the different episodes, and I'm looking for little things in it to kind of to see where's that pleasant surprise. Mm-hmm. Or where she's caught on, guys. Yeah, she's caught on. She knows that it's more than just the scheduled content. Yeah, because you're dealing with these guys and they're so random. And I love how when it comes to certain things, they're spot on, they're strategic, everything's planned down to the millisecond. Mm-hmm. And then you have moments where you're like, this definitely wasn't planned. This definitely wasn't planned. But they knew their intuition. They were like, this is what this moment needs. Yeah. And it needs just let's a little razzle dazzle here with some, random whatever. Crazy stuff. Yeah, I love that they're so, all over the place in the most structured way. Mm-hmm. And these two didn't include like winners or losers. You know what? I think the first one was supposed to. I don't know if anybody won that went out the window. Oh no! Oh, they did have the MVP. The MVP. Yeah, that's right. They did have their MVP with Suga in the first one. Was it Suga in the second one too? I feel like it was. We were really distracted by the hair. Don't remember. We were really distracted by the hair. Yeah, I don't remember. But yeah, it's I think they had MVPs for that one too. Episodes, but Suga was So it was that was a change, because the other ones they had winners and losers. Yeah. And it was a mission. So but that was I enjoy the shows. They're funny. They're hilarious. So funny. And outside of other guests, I enjoyed, of the 70s, the different variety shows that we had on TV. They all had guests. They had skits and stuff. Mm-hmm. Flip Wilson. I turned you on to Flip Wilson. Yeah. Flip Wilson show. Funny. and Sonny and Cher and Carol Burnett. And she's also hilarious. Oh yeah. Yeah, Carol Burnett. She's funny, and Carol and I've seen clips of her with like Maggie Smith. That was really funny, and then I think she did something with Cher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were on each other's shows.
I feel like they were really good friends.
Yeah. They were on each other's show. Yes. And they when they had Lucille Ball
Oh
on,
wow.
just stop
anything
right there.
with Lucille Ball.
Stop right there. But those variety shows with the skits and everything, that kind of brings me to mind with BTS outside of the guests. That because I don't know if they get into that.
Well,
don't tell me.
Oh, okay.
Don't tell me. But that's what it puts me in the mindset of, and which was funny. All those there was a lot of variety shows in the 70s.
Yeah, I think, and I like that they do that variety show aspect when it comes to like in the K-pop world with their idols. So it gives you more stuff to anticipate. I just think their schedules are so intense because they're dropping multiple albums a year.
Yeah.
And then they're doing these variety shows, and then they're also doing content for social media and content for YouTube, and like they're constantly doing
and their lives.
Yeah, like I totally the lives. Yeah, I totally understand why Sugar just wants to be asleep somewhere. Like I feel like why every chance he get, he's curled up in the background just trying to take a nap, because they're producing and writing the music, especially when you have the idols that are writing the groups that are writing their own music. Like BTS is. Yeah, they're working on overly. They're always on.
Yeah.
So Sugar, you take your naps.
Yeah.
And it's okay that you have a gun in your backpack. It's fine. And it's okay that you're an intoxicated police chief. It's totally fine. We understand. You have a lot of pressure.
A lot going on.
A lot going on. But yeah, so that's a wrap, I guess, for episodes 11 and 12. Yeah. And we can't wait to get back into it. Eventually, we won't do it. I was gonna say we're gonna do the greeting just like they do, where they say "Run BT." No, we're not. No, we're not.
But we're in the second season now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is why I split, because I feel like the first season was really short with the 10 episodes, and each episode was really short lengthwise. So I think, with the second and third season, because they have so many episodes, and two, now their episodes are getting longer. Okay. We do need to break it up like that. And so I tried to break it up in bunches that were relevant. So we'll see. I don't know. Well, I'm trying not to get her too ahead of our schedule, but I'm itching to show her some stuff, some of the later episodes. So if it does come to a point where we're like, hey, we're going to be talking about episodes, 30 through 42, that was my fault. It wasn't supposed to be all in one episode, but it might end up coming to that. Especially since, spoiler alert, I bought that game. I bought the game. So at some point we're going to have to play it, and I don't want to wait. There's 155 episodes of Run BTS.
Right.
I don't want us to have to wait until we get to all the way through to the end per our schedule to play the game. It's going to be sitting there for a while if that's the case.
We're playing a game.
We are going to, once I get in, we figure out how. But
we're still going to play a
We're going to play the game. But I want you to understand, I want you to know the moments. I guess I could cheat. I could watch her, have her watch highlight reels or something, because I know
that's better than not watching the whole episode.
Because there are a lot of YouTube compilations out there of the key moments of Run BTS. So maybe we'll do that.
I wouldn't call that cheating.
Okay, I do. Because you're not getting the full content, which I don't think you need for the game, but it's still nice to know the full, what exactly happened in that full clip.
But it also gives me the opportunity that when I get to see that full episode, not too much has been given to me.
I guess that's true.
So I can.
It's kind of how I am with the La Chimolala, because I knew about that clip before I saw the whole episode. The whole episode's hilarious, but I was anticipating the La Chimolala. So when I finally got to it, I was like, yes, it is the episode.
Oh, I have a question before we
wrap up.
Yeah, I have a question. In the beginning of episode 11, they referenced the I think it's not the last two, the confession episodes. And was that not scripted? Is that why they sat down and discussed the fact that, well, let's come up with a script for this? Was that
the confession episode?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's
because they made mention of it. Like I said, they referenced it before they got into character and everything.
It's possible. I mean, look, at this point, do we put anything past them?
No, I was just wondering.
If you look back to those episodes, I mean, some of the things that they were saying probably had some elements of truth, if not completely true, with the confessions that they had. Yeah. So yeah, it probably wasn't completely scripted. They probably had an idea of what they were going to say, but that camera turned on and they just went with it.
They went with it. Okay. So, well, can we wrap it up?
Yeah, I guess we can wrap it up. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back next time. We're talking about the best moments in life. The most beautiful moments in life. Sorry, the most beautiful moments in life, part 1. The next album.
Yes.
It's the most beautiful because it's the most beautiful.
And then we have episodes.
Well, no, we have the most beautiful moments in life, parts 1 and 2, before we get to the next series of episodes. Okay. See, this is why, because we've got so much time that goes by, that I want to just get her all the episodes out at once. But I can't do that because she doesn't have time to sit there for 3 days straight, 5 days straight.
Oh yeah, no, I don't have
to
that
watch
kind of
all of them.
I don't have that kind of time.
But yes, so when I know she'll be excited when we get to talking about the next set of episodes, which are 13 through 15.
Yes.
So yeah, that's what we got coming up down the pipeline. So look out for us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.